Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. And if you are new here, my name is Hannah. I am a Western Practical Astrologer. Okay, so in today's video we are going to be talking all about the mythologies of Virgo, looking at Mesopotamian, Egyptian and Greek. That way you can gain a deeper understanding of this analytical sign. Stay tuned because we're going to get into this. But before we do, make sure that you subscribe, hit the like button and click the bell. And if you are interested in booking a reading with me, then you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. There you can also find my practical astrology ebooks, guide, merch, cheat sheets, all that good stuff. All the links to these products will be in the description box down below. And if you are interested in extra astrology content early, as well as PDF guides and daily forecasts, then head on over to my Patreon. And I just want to say thank you so much to my patrons over there for all of your support. As always, I hope you find this video to be helpful. Let's do this. Before we do get into this, I want to give a massive shout out to the author of this book, Astrology for Lovers, Liz Greene. I highly recommend this read, especially if you want a deeper understanding about the signs. Thanks to Liz Greene's knowledge, I have been able to create this series. All right, so let's begin by turning our attention to ancient Babylon. A part of the constellation of Virgo was referred to as, I will insert the words here, the Furo, representing the goddess Shala and her ear of grain. Now, if I am mispronouncing anything, I do apologize, but I'm going to try my best, okay? So, this goddess held the ear of barley in her hands, and according to Gavin White, Virgo should be associated with the goddess Erua, who held the date palm. Virgo is this combination of the Furo and the frond. The Babylonians' diet was primarily of bread and dates. And it is this sign that is viewed as a seasonal symbol. The season of, well, autumn. Seeding season. Preparation and also accumulation. And this does make sense because Virgo is this immutable earth sign that represents the transitional period between summer and autumn. Now, apparently Hipparchus also talked about the split of Virgo between the Furo and the frond of Erua. The Furo to the east and then the frond of Erua to the west. And the goddess Erua was later named, I'm just going to insert the word right here. There is one star located in the constellation of Virgo called Speca, which is Latin for ear of grain. Also, did you know that Bethlehem means house of bread? Remember this for later. And because Virgo is tied to grain and harvest, this sign is strongly linked to fertility. Now, goddess Shala was also the emotion of compassion. Both grain and compassion reflect the importance of agriculture during Mesopotamian times. The abundance of harvest was viewed as a compassionate act from the gods. Still, this combination of the Furo and the frond created one of the largest constellations in the sky, the second largest after the Hydra. Virgo lies between Leo to the west and Libra to the east, and Virgo's name in Latin is the Virgin. Virgo's head is actually located below Leo's tail. And did you know that this constellation was once associated with Libra? Yes. Libra is usually depicted as the scales held by the Greek goddess of justice, Dike, or Astraea, represented by neighboring Virgo. Libra and Scorpio are found between the Y of Virgo and the teapot of Sagittarius. And the brightest stars of Libra became the claws of Scorpio. I know, how fascinating. To think that the constellation of Virgo was identified as the virgin goddess Astraea. Astraea means star maiden. and she was the goddess of justice, innocence, and purity. Then also thinking about the associations with Greek goddess of justice, Dike. She holds the scales of justice, but now Libra is a separate constellation. And when we bring this back to Bethlehem, well, if you recall, Virgin Mary, Mother of Jesus Christ in the Bible, can you see those connections then between the house of bread and then virginity and purity? Now, it is also said that the Babylonians associated Virgo with Ashtar, aka Inanna, whom we have talked about in previous mythology videos. Inanna was a fertility goddess, and according to Jessica Davidson, astrologer Jessica Davidson, in the Bible, Inanna was seen as a WHORE because her priestesses would have sex with the king in order to maintain the fertility of the land. However, such acts were not seen as shameful. It was about maintaining order. Still, when we look to Inanna, remember the Babylonian myth we explored in the Aries mythology video? So we talked about the relationship of Dumasu the shepherd, god of the harvest, and Inanna, how their myth is linked to summer, and then how with the dog days being over, so coming into autumn. We will get to this very familiar myth in the Greek mythology section. However, just to make this clear, there is no virgin in Mesopotamian star charts. All right, so let's now move on to Egyptian mythology. So in ancient Egypt, Virgo is associated with the goddess Isis. Isis instructed humankind on many things like housekeeping, medicine, weaving, maternity, and sorcery. She was actually a great magician. It is also said that Isis helped the DEAD enter the afterlife. She helped Osiris. Osiris was her husband. She was also viewed as the divine mother of the pharaoh, which we touched on the in the Taurus mythology video. She was a maternal figure with healing powers. She used healing spells to benefit others. She also played a role in royal rituals, and she was seen as a mighty protector. She gave birth to Horus and had to protect him from Set and other hazards such as illness, snakes. Isis also had a reputation for being, well, compassionate, this compassionate deity. So you're noticing these reoccurring themes throughout history. She was willing to relieve the pain and suffering of others. Now, Set was responsible for killing Osiris. After his DEATH, Isis sought to bring him back from the DEAD so she could conceive Horus. Both Osiris and Isis are then linked to alchemy. Okay, so thinking about DEATH and rebirth. This is all so very interesting to think about, isn't it? And we will form the connections at the end. But let's move on to the Greek mythology of Virgo. Greek mythology is my personal favorite. Perhaps the most well-known story tied to Virgo is the Greek story of Demeter and her daughter Persephone. This story includes the goddess of agriculture Demeter, the goddess of spring Persephone, and the god of the underworld Hades. Now, Persephone was the daughter of Zeus and Demeter. One day, while Persephone was attending to the land, Hades abducted her. He wanted to have her for himself. After realizing that she was missing, though, Demeter was sick with worry. She asked Helios, the sun god, what happened? What happened here? After learning that Hades took her daughter, kidnapped her daughter, Demeter, in her misery and in her fury, became unconcerned with the earth, resulting in a great famine taking place. Zeus then intervened and commanded Hades to release Persephone. However, down in the underworld, Hades tricked Persephone into eating some pomegranate seeds. Hades, of course, was sly and cunning and knew that by Persephone eating this dead food that she would return to him. This then resulted in Spring, the spring goddess, returning to Earth during 6 months of the year. Okay, so Persephone would be with her mother, Demeter, for 6 months of the year, but then she would spend the other 6 months of the year in the underworld with Hades. When Persephone was on Earth, plants and crops would grow, the earth, the land would flourish, but when she was in the underworld, the plants and crops, they would die. Hence the harvest and the gathering of food for the winter. Now, where have we heard of a very similar story? Perhaps you have guessed this, but we explored the mythology of Domisud the shepherd and Ayanana, looking again at the changing of seasons. We explored this in the Aries mythology video, this very similar process. Also remember that goddess Demeter is Ceres in Roman mythology, and so this myth is also linked to Ceres in the chart. Some astrologers actually assign Ceres to Virgo, some also assign Chiron to Virgo, which we previously mentioned in the Sagittarius symbol video, and this is due to how Virgo possesses these healing qualities. Ceres is also linked to Virgo for its fertility qualities, and also looking here at attachment and separation, which we can identify in the myth of Demeter and Persephone. Grief and loss are also associated with Ceres in the chart, okay? Farming and harvest as well. And another celestial body that I want to bring up here is Vesta. Remember we mentioned Ayanana's priestesses, Sexual, axe with the king? Well, in Roman mythology, Vesta is the virgin goddess of the hearth, home, and family. The priestesses of Vesta, known as Vestal Virgins, were responsible for sustaining and protecting the sacred fire in the temple of Vesta. During their service, they were expected to keep themselves virgins. Their service included things like learning, training, practicing religious rituals, and rites at the temple. Why am I bringing this up? Why is this important? Because Vesta also possesses Virgo-like qualities. It points to dedication, focus, protection, work, purity, virginity, sacrifice as well. Now, there is another Greek myth tied to the constellation of Virgo, which we're not really going to get into, but in short terms, Erigone, so her father Dionysus was Kiled, and what she did then is she ended up Hanging herself in grief. So that is a really sad myth, of course. And as for Astraea, well, Astraea was the daughter of Zeus and Themis. Astraea and her mother were incarnations of justice, but Astraea apparently left humanity because it just became too sinful, too destructive. And like I said, the scales of justice are associated with Astraea. They became Libra. It is through then the Greek story of Demeter and Persephone that we learn about these characteristics of Virgo that are pure and service orientated due to Persephone attending to the field. Okay, she was this spring goddess, of course, during 6 months of the year. She was even of service on the land 6 months of the year. She was then also of service beneath, okay, in the underworld with Hades. However, this same myth can also be associated with qualities of Virgo that are fault-finding and analytical, of course, due to Demeter's search for her daughter. Okay, she actually stopped at nothing. There was like a needing to figure things out quality there from Demeter, and this is very much what Virgo does too. Furthermore, we are presented with Virgo's worry, stress, anxiety due to how worried Demeter must have been once she realized that her daughter was missing. I can't even imagine those feelings. It could also be suggested that this myth signifies the allure that Virgo can have on those who are domineering or controlling. People who think they can walk over Virgo or take advantage of Virgo. Others might try to fit Virgo into this certain box or narrative based on the things that Virgo does for others or for them specifically. And this, of course, is why it's crucial that Virgo seeks to prepare their own vessel, using their impeccable discriminating and critical thinking skills. Consider here the glyphs of Virgo and also Scorpio. Keep in mind that it was Hades, aka Pluto, who kidnapped Persephone and dragged her into the underworld, and it is Pluto that rules Scorpio in astrology. So the M in Virgo's glyph points inwards, okay? There's a loop, there's an inward curl, and then the M in the Scorpio glyph, it points outwards, and it's also shaped like a dagger. So this suggests that there's something penetrating about Scorpio, but there's something containing about Virgo. In fact, Virgo is one of the most misunderstood signs of the zodiac, especially because there is this distorted view that we have when it comes to asexuality and also virginity. Virgo is the maiden, but Virgo is about self-containment. But it is this very same sign that gets caught up in all sorts of messes where they become so separated from themselves, from their worth, from their own power. There is a part of Virgo that sees itself as imperfect, as they push to be perfect. But this within itself is a never-ending cycle, okay? A cycle that repeats until they learn to go within. Again, that M, it curls inwards. The word virgin actually gets confused with only referring to sex, but this is about finding fulfillment from within. This is about connecting with our femininity. You know, Virgo is a highly feminine sign. Like I said, this is about Virgo preparing their own vessel. Scorpios may be more outwardly expressive about their asexuality. Okay, perhaps not as outwardly expressive as Leos. Okay, but still, Virgo is much more inwardly expressive, having sex with the self as well, actually. Above the surface, it may appear as if Scorpio is more asexual and Virgo is not. But underneath, Virgo is very much in touch with their asexuality. You don't really know. There's more than meets the eye when it comes to Virgo, basically. Now, on the other hand, of course, this is also about addressing any shame or sin linked to such matters. And to also think that Hades, Scorpio, and Persephone, Virgo, they ruled the underworld. They ruled the underworld together. They were married, okay? Perhaps Virgo then is just as dark as Scorpio. And so is it that Virgo is just better at hiding it, at hiding its dark side, so to speak? But if we consider the myths that we've talked about today, perhaps Virgo is also a sign of facing our shadow, the integration of light and dark, the alchemical and spiritual processes which are tied to both signs, okay, both Virgo and Scorpio. But there is this vulnerability, this vulnerable side to Virgo. And as we also mentioned, this compassionate side, a side that feels deeply for humanity. Virgo feels for the suffering and the pain of others. But here's the thing, Virgo is an earth sign and is ruled by Mercury. So Virgo manages itself practically. They think about what is good and what can be kept, and also what is spoilt and what can be thrown away or cleaned or fixed. Virgo analyzes themselves and their surroundings. It's a sign of preparation, of organization, showing us how we can plan out our day, stick to specific time schedules, and also create a system that works best for us. Virgo often plays this role of nurse and focuses on their health and even the health of others. Virgo takes that Leo energy, you know, the sign before Virgo, that Leo energy, and urges us to be practical with it, to be realistic with it, in order for us to remain in good health just overall. And as it has already been suggested, Virgo is a motherly sign, similar to Cancer, but this is about making sure that we look after our bodies. But the other thing about this is managing our stress levels, managing our worry, seeing when we give our power away to others or whenever we are taken advantage of. Also to see when we are too fault-finding of others and of ourselves, of course, when we can be masochistic, when we can be punishing, as if we need to pay for our mistakes and our flaws, to see where we are too consumed by imperfection, by lack, when we are not so satisfied with who we are and how we look. Naturally, this is also about leveling up, when it comes to this sign. The ability to improve and to practice and to get better. These qualities are also admirable about Virgo. But it's also about not giving into the comparison game, where we assume that others are more worthy or that they are doing better than us. And this is where we notice the qualities Virgo can often lack. Qualities of self-compassion, forgiveness, playfulness, pride, charm, and harmony. Consider where Virgo sits in the Zodiac, opposite Pisces, the sign of transcendence and unconditional love, and between signs Leo and Libra. Leo is the hidden self of Virgo. Leo encourages Virgo to integrate qualities of spontaneity, joy, being proud of oneself, being proud of one's successes. And Libra correlates with the qualities that Virgo is here to learn. So the qualities that Virgo grows into, qualities of grace, tact, and being more balanced, being able to see the other side of the coin. Consider also how Persephone spent 6 months in the underworld and then the other 6 months on Earth. There's just something about this yin-yang motion to this sign, this back and forth process between light and dark, and then the integration of the two, the transition from summer to autumn, the transition of the first 6 personal signs to the other 6 transpersonal signs, from self to other, but then it goes back from other to self. Virgo's connections to health also. Indeed, this archetype possesses much clarity. It represents a human's ability to remove dead weight or toxins from the body and the mind so that they can feel more physically and mentally stable. But this is also about battling with our own inner critic or challenging it, seeing when it gets out of hand. Next thing, we're paralyzed by our fears, by our worries, not letting that negative self-talk win, not letting it take over like Hades took over Persephone. Virgo teaches us about our own sort of purifying and alchemical process, how we can dive into the depths of our psyche. We can go within and figure out what we would like to clean up, so to speak, what has become poisonous to the system, healing, health, nutrition, diet, exercise, therapy. This is about filling our cups, or filling up our own cups and pouring into ourselves. And by taking care of our bodies when we are in work mode, we can be then studious, we can be measured, we can be calculated, we can do a better job. Basically, we can perform better. We can create some of our best work, due to time, patience, attention to detail, sharp focus, thoughtfulness, and also because we took that time to look after ourselves. But overall, Virgo is here to be self-contained and to practice their craft. This feminine maiden seeks to cleanse, purify, and create systems that work. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video talking all about the mythology of Virgo. Please let me know if you found this video to be helpful. Did you learn something new? I would really appreciate your feedback here, and like you, I am always learning. You can, of course, find all of the sources that I used in this video in the description box down below. Be sure to check them out. And again, I just want to say a big, massive thank you to my patrons over at Patreon. Thank you for all of your support. And do let me know your thoughts and your opinions on today's video. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And of course, if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then make sure that you click that subscribe button and also give this video a like if you did like it today. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye.